Good day, this is George McCaslin coming to you from my home at the Indian Meadows Nursing Center. I'm the online moderator of the Dad's House Educational Group found at the above address and on Facebook. Today we will be reviewing the article on child support and the child tax credit from the child support chapter of the Dad's House manual. At the end of this video you will see a list of other videos on child support as well as materials that is available in the Dad's House manual. Remember that we are not here to solve your problems. We are here to teach you how to solve them yourself through knowledge. For with knowledge comes power, and with the power of knowledge comes rights. Also, please consider rating this video as well as sharing it to your Facebook and Twitter pages.
Understand about child support and tax deductions. Which parent gets the deduction? The parent paying child support covering more than 51% of the cost of raising the child, or the parent who has the children 51% of the time?
Child support and the child tax credit. One regular complaint from fathers is why they do not get the tax deduction when they are paying all or most of the costs of raising their children, and what deductions can they take. It would be virtually impossible to give any part answers to this, but some recommendations can be made that can be of help in reducing your tax burden. A custodial parent, according to the IRS. It should be noted that, regardless of any custody agreement or court order, the IRS has its own definition of who the custodial parent is. Section 152E4 of the IRS regulations defines custodial parent as the parent having custody, i.e. physical possession, for the greater portion of the calendar year, and non-custodial parent as the parent who is not the custodial parent. The IRS rule is that if you have the child for more than half of the year, and they literally mean 183 days, you are the custodial parent. However, time spent in daycare and/or school can be deducted from the total. If you feel that the mother may challenge this, or attempt to claim the child, you can also double cover your back by having the mom fill out IRS Form A332, which says, "I am the custodial parent of this child, and I am giving up my rights to claim the child this year." If you don't receive the tax deduction, then there may be some tax deductions you can still take. These deductions are covered in the IRS Publication 504, Deductions for Divorced and Separated Individuals. Note, if you are presently paying off a past due child support obligation, you may have an IRS lien against your tax return. This sometimes presents problems when you remarry and begin filing a joint return with your new spouse. The lien takes the whole refund, without regard for which person paid how much tax. One way to avoid this is to file separately, but then you may have to pay a higher tax as a result. A second way to avoid this is to file IRS Form A379, Injured Spouse Claim and Allocation Form. This form allows the part of the refund which is owed your spouse to be separated before the lien is applied, and then refunded. This is actually a good habit to be in regardless of whether or not you have arrears, as mistakes are made and returns taken even when there's no reason for a lien on the tax return. Options. Generally, the custodial parent claims the personal exemptions for children, unless they specifically waive the exemption in favor of the other parent. However, it may be more beneficial for the often higher-earning parent, who is usually the supporting parent, to claim the children's personal exemptions. This would result in that parent's taxable income being lower. The tax savings can be used to make child support payments more affordable for the paying parent, while at the same time allowing for an increase in the amount of child support being paid. This makes tax savings financially beneficial to both the child support payer and the payee. However, before making this decision, it would be wise to consult with an accountant to determine to what extent the tax savings would affect the overall financial status of both parents. Simply put, Rather than arguing over who should or should not take the child tax credit and the daycare deduction, the parents should cooperate on what would be the best option to benefit both of them. Don't get a tax return. In this discussion, it should not be ignored that all states have programs to capture federal and state income tax refunds for recovering past due child support. If you owe past due child support, the capturing of your income tax refunds may be a relatively painless way of paying your past due support. Unfortunately, the computers that capture income tax refund payments are not always accurate, resulting in people who do not owe past due child support getting their refunds captured. The only way to avoid this problem is not to get a refund. Any good accountant will tell you that it is not wise to get tax refunds. Uncle Sam does not pay you interest for money that he keeps all year long, and only charges modest fees if you have not paid in enough by the end of the year. Increase the number of deductions on your W-4 form with your employer. The IRS hardly even blinks if you take up to 8 deductions. You may have to pay in some extra taxes a couple of times per year, but then again you will get more money that is spendable from each paycheck. If you already have a refund coming for the year, elect to have your refund go toward your next year's taxes. Tax return liens. In this regard, for those who are simply allowing a tax return to be taken to pay on arrears, this may not be the best decision in the long run, as you are also accumulating interest penalties which can double and triple the original amount owed. See these links in reference. Child Support Interest Penalty Calculator, Assessing the Growth of Arrears, a government report. If there is a legitimate reason, such as unemployment, the paying parent can still file for a reduction in the arrears in most states. Most child support payers do not know there is free help from the state, by federal law, to obtain a modification of support in the event of a justifiable loss of income. At the minimum, a motion should be filed to have any interest penalties set aside. Of the total media reported amount of child support owed, 83% is interest penalties and not the unpaid child support. A final note. It should be noted that in the early part of the 1990s, Judge David Gray Roth, Commissioner of the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement, instructed the states to modify their child support guidelines to account for the child tax credit. Many states did this. However, this did not take into account the Child Independent Care Tax Credit, the passage of which took place later. To learn more about the federal program, see this link.
That concludes a review of this article from the Dad's House Manual. When using the manual, please consider clicking on the Facebook and Twitter links at the top to share this material with those in your social network. There were over 40 million divorced and single fathers in America, most of whom are searching around for help in the issues found in this manual. Also, fathers are a frequent target of the media and politicians, inciting what they think is wrong with America. They blame us for fatherless children, even though 40% of divorced single mothers deny fathers access to their children. They call us deadbeat dads, even though only 3% of those ordered to pay child support flatly refuse to do so. They claim that millions of single mothers are not getting child support, without mentioning that 75% of single mothers never applied for any, either due to them cohabiting with the father or not knowing who the father is. If we are to curb the negative picture presented about fathers, then fathers need to be expressing their opinions on it. You can be doing that by writing letters to your politicians and to the editorial page of local and national newspapers. These links will teach you how to do just that. Consider doing it at least once a month. We cannot make our voices heard if we are not willing to speak up. Consider checking out the Zazu stores for Dad's House and Second Wife Club for items to give as gifts or to express your opinion on father's rights. First, we have the main Dad's House store with items of appreciation for fathers. From there, we have the Second Wife Club, also for items of appreciation that you would want to give to a stepmother. Then we have the Father's Rights page, which are items for expressing one's opinion on the father's rights issues. And finally, the Other Face of Abuse store, addressing the issues of male victims of domestic violence. for yourself, take the time to study all the material found here, for only through knowledge do we gain power over our lives. Naturally, this material is available for anyone to use, regardless of what group you are a member of, if any group. But if you have not already done so, consider joining Dad's House to discuss these issues with other fathers and learn from each other's experiences. Naturally, second wives and anyone who knows a father in trouble is also welcome. There is no cost to join and use our materials. Also check out the Second Wife Club for stepmothers.